Yo, shalom, all praises to the Most High, Yehoshua. This is YYBY. When I record vocals a lot different than a lot of people record vocals or how they was taught. I learned, like, once you learn the basics of music, you have to be creative and you'll be surprised what you come up with. There's no rules to it once you learn the basics. But okay, when most people record vocals, you know, they get a good take. You know, the levels is right. They might put a little compression on it coming in on the input, or they might use a tube or something like that. And then when they start putting EQ on the vocals, right? It's certain parts of the vocals. You know, vocals are like mountains, and they are up and down. You know, as you can see in the background, they up and down, and they all over the place. And some parts is loud, some parts is low. And we know that. So when they put an EQ on it, when it's a certain part that's not really standing out, they have to do a lot of automation on the EQ. And that's fine. You know, especially if you got a lot of vocals, you know, you have to do a lot of automation on the vocals to touch those specific little parts that's not really standing out like that. And I found a way where, you know, I could prevent all that if I don't have to. And what I do, I put a limiter on my input, right? And with the limiter, what I do, I set it to like between 7 dB, 10 dB, or 12 dB, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're recording in, you never want your vocals to, you know, to go too high on the meter, and you never want your vocals to go too low, because if it's too low, it have a lot of, you know, they call it it's like a certain sound. You hear a lot of noise in a noise floor or something like that, right? So what I want to show y'all is that on here, let me turn this around. What I want to show y'all is that, as you can see, let me go to my input. I have a fat channel. This is the fat channel, and I have it on 12 dB, right? I don't use the compression. I mean, what limiter actually is compression in a way. It's just set different. I don't use compression. Sometimes I might use an EQ based on the person's vocals, but normally I just use, you know, a gate coming in and EQ. The reason why I use a gate set perfectly is because, you know, when you're recording in a room that's not thoroughly, you know, the walls are not soundproof, you know, not soundproof, but they not acoustic, meaning where, you know, the sound still travel out the room, you know. So when you go to bigger studios, they have acoustic rooms where they don't have to have certain things on their mic, you know, when they're recording vocals and stuff, you know. So the room is it's soundproof, so they use that perfectly for bands and stuff like that. But anyway, now the point is that what I do, I put a limiter on the vocals, right? And so when I put the limiter on the vocals, I set it perfectly. So on my audio interface, I set my audio interface at a percentage where the artist cannot peak. So it's like around, what, 15, 16 dB. So no matter how loud they get in the mic, they can't peak. I do not want them to peak at all. So that level of the mic, you have to turn down on the audio interface. But the problem is, when you turn the audio interface down, you know, they don't be loud enough through when the vocals are coming in on when the vocals are coming on the sequencer. They not loud enough because the mic level of the vocals or the audio interface is low. So what I do in Studio One, you have a gain on top of the input. So I turn that gain up. So now the vocals come in without peaking, but it's louder on the gain. So no matter how, you know, so it's a perfect volume. It's a perfect setting. It's loud enough. It comes in. So it's kind of like vocals going through the level of the audio interface. And then once they hit the input of the DAW, it's louder. So you're still getting a good take. And when I put a limit on it, so when I put a limit on it, it kind of square out the vocals. A lot of people say it's not good to do that, but you're still doing that when you could do a compression. You're doing that when you limiting when you master your limiter, when you master your track. If you do it too much, it takes the life away from it. So I said it perfectly where it squares out my vocals. So what happens is that all my vocals, it's like compression. All the vocals, the lower parts of the vocals is standing out. The higher part of the vocals are cut down a little bit. You get what I'm saying? And that's perfect. And it sounds smooth. The vocals is not jumping everywhere. So when I'm mixing, I don't have to put a lot of compression on the vocals. They already sound good far as the level of them. So when I'm EQing, I don't have to do a lot of automation on the EQ, if y'all get what I'm saying. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just hit me up and I can explain it to you more in the video. This is YYBY. Peace.